this is the Reader's Digest, the November 2023 issue, My Day of No Plastic. At least that's our first story of the day. Let's get this started with, man, or woman, or everyone in between. Let's start off. So, is it actually even possible to have a day without plastic? Well, one guy, a guy named AJ Jacobs, tries to go ahead and finds out. And on the morning he decided to go ahead and have no plastic. Apparently these things have plastic, like the little coating that makes this shiny. These things have plastic. These things have a little plastic. These things have plastic. Literally everything we have is plastic. Apparently my pants are also plastic, at least the buttons I get, but the fiber? Ugh. Now, the morning that he actually decided to go ahead and do this experiment without using plastic products or even touching plastic, was that he just opened his eyes and he just put his bare foot on the carpet, and he was just 10 seconds in and he already violated his experiment. And so he goes ahead like, oh darn it, and since its invention more than a century ago, it is actually went ahead into our life. In fact, we're using plastic every day now. The pens have plastic, the recording die has plastic, the computer it has plastic, the phone has plastic, the glasses has plastic, braces have plastic, clothing has plastic, buttons have plastic, all that have plastic. And at the start of his no plastic day, he made himself to the bathroom and he stopped himself and called his wife to like open the door for him because it was like plastic coating. And the doorknob has a plastic coating, and she opened it for him and letting out a sigh like saying, this is going to be a long, long day. And he goes ahead and he's all like, okay, I can't use my regular toothpaste or my toothbrush. Oh wait, I have a bamboo toothbrush. Now about the toothpaste. You know what? I won't use toothpaste. I'll use this weird ash gray little deodorant thing. And he created it, and he popped his mouth, did a little rinsing and thing, and he spat it out. It was a little disturbing though for him about the ashes though. And when he came out, he smelled like a medieval cathedral, but in a good way. Like, there's a whole industry of plastic-free products out there, though, so he just went ahead and used all those, and he's already made a second violation by the time he's got out of the bathroom. He used the toilet. Now, the thing is, he's one of those addicts that would throw away plastic stuff every year. Like, he's throwing away 800 plastic items in the garbage each year. Takeout containers, pens, cups, Amazon packages with foam inside, and more. And before his day of no plastic, he was immersed himself in a number of no plastic books, like videos and podcasts. And one of the books, Life Without Plastic, the practical step-by-step guide to avoiding plastic to keep your family and the planet healthy, by Jay Shida and Chantal Palmodem, actually came from Amazon wrapped in clear plastic, which is pretty weird. And this happens, and then he went ahead and tried to go ahead and do a lot more. And he couldn't literally pay with actual money because apparently it had plastic on it. And he couldn't actually use his phone because it has plastic on it. He can use his credit card as it's entirely made of plastic. And so the only way he could actually pay stuff was he drained his own kids and his own piggy banks out of literally all the coins they had. And so he used those quarters to just pay up. And he's like, sorry this is taking so long. It's okay. And the cashiers are like, it's okay. I meditate every day for things like this. And he went ahead and took his own little metal bag. And then he went ahead and bought stuff. But he didn't really care about the stickers on it. So because he's like, I'm so hungry. Because he's not allowed to use the microwave or the toaster. And his son literally tempted him by saying, you want some of this? By taking out a plastic bag and with French toast inside and saying, do you want some of this? And yeah. Instead, he went ahead and foraged for raw food items, and so he left his building using the stairs rather than using the elevator. Of course, as elevators have plastic, and stairs, I actually think stairs have plastic too, but who cares? At least that's what he says. And he went ahead and did his glass containers, and actually got a manager of a restaurant to say, "Can you make this out of plastic?" And like no, not out of plastic. Could you like cook stuff in this? And he's like, sure. And he goes ahead and he's like, okay. Can I use my steel ladle? No, that's a little too much. Okay. And that happened. And yeah, after lunch, he just went ahead to Central Park, figured out this was a spot where this was like a plastic-free environment. He took the subway there, which was already a violation, but at least he didn't sit on those like plastic chairs. He just brought his own wooden chairs though. And because no one, literally, everyone was looking at their plastic smartphones, no one actually noticed that there was a man with a wooden chair on it. So that's actually pretty good. He bought a pitcher by LifeStraw that contains a membrane microfilter, and of course the pitcher itself had plastic parts, so he couldn't use it on the big day. And so instead, the night before, he spent some time on the sink filtering water and filling up mason jars. And his kitchen looked as though it was ready for the apocalypse. The water tasted particularly poor, which he was guessing was like some sort of a placebo effect. And then he wrote for a while. There he sat there in his wooden chair, phoneless, internetless, and his wife actually took pity on him and actually offered to play a game of cards, and he shook his head. It has plastic coating. Wow. And at 9 p.m., he took his dog out for a walk with a plastic-free leash and a metal pooper scooper. Apparently, he just took away the poop bags. And even the sustainable ones he found were actually made of recycled or plant-based plastic. Instead, he had to use a spatula. Thankfully, he didn't have to use it. At 10:30 p.m., he was exhausted. He laid down in his own makeshift bed, a bunch of cotton sheets on the wooden floor, since his mattress and pillows were plasticky. And then he woke up the next morning glad to have survived his ordeal and reunited with his home, but also a feeling of defeat. And that previous day, he made 164 violations, and as his friend Salazar predicted, he felt overwhelmed. However, then Salazar actually said, you can drive yourself crazy, but it's not about perfection. It's about progress. Believe it or not, individual behavior matters. It adds up. So, you're not actually going to have to be able to live plastic-free for an entire day, at least from now on. But you can make steps towards using less plastic. And that's about it. Alright, next we have life advice from a Southern stranger. So, apparently this is for an Indian guy. And the Indian guy himself has faced himself with a quarter-life crisis. And a young man travels around the country and he goes ahead to seek guidance. So he goes ahead and there's this guy named Imran Nuri. And he's an Indian immigrant. Like, his mom and dad are from India. He was born in the States. And he wanted to go ahead and wanted some life advice. And so he went ahead and he told his parents, like, I'm gonna sleep in my car and get, do shower. And, whatever gym would let my gym membership. And I'm gonna ask at least a 7 strangers for some advice. And I've got a roadmap. And they're all like, no. First of all, sleeping in a car, it's out of the question. And then he was able to convince his parents to go ahead. So, like, I'm 24, I'm married, I have no mortgage, anything. So, if you were at my age, wouldn't you have wanted this opportunity? And they were sold. So he went ahead on a stream of journey. Before all that, he wrote something in his journal. I wonder what I would be like once I come back. I wonder how it would have changed. And yeah, he went ahead and found lots and lots of strangers. The first stranger he found was basically, he thought it was an old woman, but then he found out it was just a man who was burned just badly. And he just went ahead and lived his rest of his life with flowers, because that stranger's life advice was spend more time with your family. You won't have them for long. And yeah, that sort of happened, because turns out his mom and dad weren't there, and he found out lots more people who saying, like, everything gets better as time goes on, just keep pushing forward. Or another example, it's okay to say no, it won't hurt people's feelings. And another one, apparently this is the one that he made the conversation the longest, was you don't really have control, so just let it go. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to this. And then when he finally came back, he realized that he was just another person. He put himself in other people's shoes, and even when a person sees the world differently from him, he can do that because now he can literally talk easily to strangers. He's no longer that tongue-tied introvert he once was, and he's more of an extrovert now. And he recognized that all the advice he's heard was profound, but hearing it from people from all walks of life actually made it powerful. Nice. Now we have the RD list. This is the read, watch, and listen. Now, Lessons in Chemistry, starring the actor Brie Larson. Now, the RD list is just a read, watch, and listen tool, and it's basically just about how things seem to start going ahead. Apparently, this is just about movie shows, like the films, the TV shows, and the books. But first of all, let's start off with the TV show. Now, Bry Larson is Elizabeth, which is Elizabeth Zott in the TV show, is from the Happy Days era literary heroine for the ages. And in this TV adaptation of that novel, Zott, a gifted chemist, is fired from her lab when she finds herself pregnant out of wedlock. With a child to support and very little help, Zott reluctantly accepts an offer to a cooking show and Supper at 6, and it garners more attention than anyone actually anticipated, as largely because of the scientific sensibilities that Zott brings to the kitchen. Teaching much more than just recipes, to be honest. Wait until the butter foams. Foam indicates that the butter's water content has boiled away. This is critical, because now the steak can cook in lipids rather than absorb H2O. And of course, apparently it's not only housewives who are watching, it's women, children, men, and hopefully you. And this already premiered in Apple TV Plus on October 13th. Yeah, and this is a pretty fun show. I like chemistry, and the thing is, I also like cooking, and cooking is just chemistry, so yay! Next up, we have the films. Ordinary Angels, which is starring Hilary Swank. So there's this ex-convict guy, and he's a struggling hairdresser, and he's trying to recover an alcoholic, and he used to be an alcoholic, but he's now trying to quit. And he's finding his purpose when he actually finds this widower, Alan Richardson, and desperate to secure a liver transplant for his 3-year-old daughter. So they meet each other, and well, they help each other. They got a kid to go raise, and they finally raised enough money for the liver transplant. And when a snowstorm comes the day when his 3-year-old girl had to go to the hospital, he got everyone in his community to go help him out, which is kind of nice for them too. But it's also really, really breathtaking. And finally, last but not least, we have a book. Now, this book itself is interesting. It's called Holly by an author called Stephen King. The choreographable slope, Holy Gibney, actually entered the Stephen King multiverse in 2014's Mr. Mercedes. And it already stands out along the decades of iconic characters. And in her standalone novel, if this was a movie, I'd be all like, standalone movie, solo movie. Gibney is no less. It's a solo book. It's no longer under the wing of Mr. Mercedes' protagonist Bill Hodges, and while in the kids, like It had Pennywise the Clown, Gibney has Professor Rodney, and everyone else, to be honest. And this is just the beginning for now. And that's it for the Reader's Digest. Hopefully you guys actually enjoyed this episode. I'll see you guys in the next episode of the Reader's Digest. Wherever you are, whenever you are, be safe, wear a helmet, and stay cool. Don't forget to be awesome. John Green.